Welcome, everybody. So let's go and close our eyes. Just take a few breaths in and out. Take a long breath in. Take a slow breath out. Take a deep breath in and a quiet breath out. Just let your body settle into your breath. No matter what was going on before this, think deeply about your breath. Together as a group, let's exhale and then inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep that rhythm of breath going. Quiet, slow, relaxed, and calm. If you wish, put one of your hands on your belly button. And just breathe in and out slowly into your hand. So that your belly can rise with the inhale and fall with the exhale. Deep breath in, quiet breath out. Slow breath in, relaxed breath out. Keep cycling with your breath. You might notice that the mind gets a bit quieter, maybe a little bit more still. And you might notice a space between your thoughts. Just keep a long breath in and slow breath out. Try to take a few more at your own pace. And most of you have heard of me speak of our guides and our divine support team. If you haven't, don't worry about it. If you know what I'm talking about, bring the conscious attention to bring their energy in. If I said it differently, just bring in the energy of unconditional love. And if someone has not heard me speak of that before, I really want you to know that you were guided to this workshop. Maybe you heard about it. You know of me, you know somebody who's done this work. A lot of times we're gravitated to this work because there's something in us that needs to heal. And very commonly, something in our ancestral pattern needs to heal. So more than likely, some of your ancestors, grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles, aunts are here. Welcome their energy in, just of love. There you go. And then when you're ready, start to come back to the room. Open your eyes when you're ready. Again, I want to say good morning because it's been raining all day here, or most of the day. So good to see your faces and so happy you're all here. So thank you. Thank you for showing up live. We have a whole bunch of people signed up for this. And for those of you who show up live, it really helps because I can teach until I'm green in the face, but it helps to teach to live people. So I have a PowerPoint set up, all there. And if you have a pen and paper, that'll help. But in the PowerPoint, I'm going to talk about the structure as well. So just to dive in, we're just going to have a lot of fun today. So let us get going. One sec here. Tech is always fun for me. Let's see if I can find a link. There we go. Yay. And I find when I do webinars, it really helps to engage you as opposed to have you float off into Never Never Land. Okay, which is why I do these. Otherwise, I would love to teach without these. But what I've noticed since I started doing them is it really helps to keep people present. All right, relationships webinar, March 15th. Yay. Okay, welcome. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, but while I'm doing that, you're going to tell me where you're from. So as I babble, use the chat box and just say, what part of the world are you from? So a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Divi. Some of you know that. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know. Some of you are brand new to me, so welcome. My background. Oh, we got Ohio, we got Wisconsin, we got Nova Scotia, Okanagan. So background, family doctor. I became an intuitive coach for, a long time in there. I started my intuitive coaching business close to 20 years ago, closer to 16, 17 years ago. I have a 20-year-old son, so you date everything from their birth, if some of you know that. So I went from medicine, stuck in yoga there for a while, became an intuitive coach, and more recently in the last few years have segued into calling myself a spiritual teacher using intuition, and moved out of the coaching realm just because I was so busy. The reason I left intuitive coaching was because I had a 2-year wait list and it wasn't sustainable. I just couldn't keep people waiting for that long. Plus, I was only impacting how many of people I could see a week. Now, the craziest thing when I look back at my coaching business is that I had 80% of the people that would walk into my office or hop online with me came to me for relationship crap. My mother, my father, my brother, my boss, my lover, my ex-lover, it all just was the same thing. Now, another 20 to 30% came to see me for things like money, life path, health. And when I dug into that, it all ended up being relationships. So it's actually quite funny. So I feel like I spent the last 20 years coaching relationships. So yes, that's what I'm going to dive into today. So we got some Oregon, we got some Squamish, we got some UK, we got some Vancouverites, West Vancouver, Idaho, Mexico. Yay, we got all over the place. Love it. Okay, so what else do you want to know? Okay, a little bit about the structure of today. So I'm going to teach from metaphysical angle. I'm going to apply it to relationships. I'm going to teach some processes. We're going to share our experiences to the chat box. And at the end, I'll open up to Q&A, intuitive questions. I do have a stop at 5:15, 5:30 because I got tickets to a comedy show tonight at 6. Luckily, it's just downtown, so I don't have far to go. But yeah, so we're going to do a hard stop at 5:15 or 5:30. Okay, what else do you want to know about today? Let's see. Okay, how it's set up. If I went into the grocery store or the coffee shop, I would need to pull out my wallet, correct? In the room of self-development, we need some vulnerability, okay? The currency of healing and self-development is vulnerability, okay? If you want to get something out of this, let's take down some walls. But in order to be vulnerable, we need to feel safe. So there's 2 things I do for webinars to enhance that. I record it with just my video for your anonymity for this class, but your voice will be heard if you ask Q&A, and I might use your name if you ask a coaching question. And just a quick question, does everybody agree? Just put your thumbs up in the chat box. Just tell me you guys are in agreement. So everything that comes here stays here. Is that cool? Chat box, just say yes or no. Are we all good with that? So everything that comes on today's class in terms of like, if somebody shares all that stuff, it's all to be left here. So if Deborah shares something and you're dying to share what Deborah said because you got so much out of her share, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to maybe share something that occurred in the webinar, but keep the names out of it. Cool. Thank you. I got lots of yeses. So vulnerable place. Amazing. All right, let's keep going here. Okay. Some ABCs about the work I do. I'm going to teach relationships from a metaphysical angle. Okay. So we're going to use the chat box to share with me what is your pain point. I put some examples. I can't find a lover. I'm never the one chosen. My partner is always rude to me. I have an abusive partner. I've been cheated on. I date narcissistic men, or I date narcissistic women. Women always show up late. So use the chat box. What is your pain point? So I want to hear from you guys. What is your pain point? Not being seen. Thanks, Brian. What else you guys got? Not being seen. What else? Respect. Perfect, Inga. Why are you here? Besides, you want to hang out with me on a rainy day. Oh, it stopped raining. Why are you here? Not being accepted. Great, Francis. Being cheated on. Excellent, Rachel. I have a hard time showing my love. Amazing, Jill. Let's take that wall down, sister. Not being understood. Good, Chuck. My needs are not being met. Beautiful, Nav. Finding commitment. Thanks, Judes. What else are you guys here? I'll give you guys a second. intimidated by me, my accomplishments. Got it, Lilani. Amazing. Give you guys a second. Fear of intimacy. Thanks, Victoria. Really good. Really, really good. Amazing. Okay. So I got some fear of being lonely. Beautiful. Fear of change. Nice, Sanaz. Okay. So we got a wide variety from not being chosen to fear of intimacy to fear of change to needs not being met. We got wide range, which was awesome. Great. All right. That helps me to know why you're here. I had a feeling, but I want to hear it from you guys. Okay, why am I asking? Because today, you can leave if you want, I'm joking. But today, I'm not going to approach this workshop from the idea that someone out there is wrong, okay? I'm not going to approach this workshop from all men in Vancouver need to wake up. I'm not going to approach this workshop from something bad happened to you. I love you, but I'm not going to approach it that way. Because my role as a metaphysical teacher, as a spiritual teacher, as intuitive, is to put you in the driver's seat of your life. So if you want to just complain about what's happening, I cannot be of service to you. But if you want to change what's happening, I'm your gal. Got it? I've worked with thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and I'm not saying that I've lived it. And I can tell you that if you will do the work, you can be in the driver's seat of your life. Okay? And to be the driver's seat of your life means that we have to shift something in your mind. And we'll get into that in a few minutes here, to shift the outcome in relationships. Okay. So just FYI, I didn't want to make anyone upset. Okay. So I threw some testimonials because when I looked at the list of people who are here, half of you I don't know. So I threw some testimonials in here. This testimonial I got this morning. I opened my email and it came in this morning. I actually think she signed up. So she wrote, I just want to share how impactful the work has been for me. And I continue in it. In fact, I've restarted. I continue to return to the Holy Spirit and surrender daily. I have happiness in me that has become way more steady. I'm definitely not as sensitive as I was prior to this work. So this woman came to see me with her husband, and they've done a lot of work with me in groups, a little bit one-to-one, but a lot of everything. And they're married, and I've known them since before they got married. And she's had this wandering eye. They have a kid together, and super normal. So I was teaching her how to shift that in her, and also called her husband out on what he was doing that was part of it. I didn't put on her, I didn't put on him. I put on both of them. Got it? And that's the work we're going to do. We're going to actually have you see what's in you so that you can have an impactful shift and so that you can feel happier. So you can see that you are the cause of your life. Okay. The key to this work is to stop looking outside of you for what's wrong, but to look that something inside of you needs shifting. And I know I've said that 2 or 3 times here. The work is inner, and we have to go like this to the outer world. But we have to really realize that we created the outer world. Okay. And if we want a different outer impact, we have to change what's going on in here. And so that client I told you about, she's had huge shifts just through some tweaks and some twalks of her mind. So she's not looking over there at this other cutie patootie. And it's not that she has to look at her husband, but I had to shift her husband too, so that she didn't feel like, so that the energy imbalance could shift. So, okay. So what I've done is I've come up with a 5-step process. Because when I do these webinars, I find it the easiest if I can, guys, you need to know before I jump in, the work I do is super deep, okay? Like super deep. And I'm trying to, in this 5-step process, to show you basically like a bit of a helicopter approach of what we're going to do. So if I divided like months and years of this work into 5 steps, it would be this. Number 1, become the witness or the observer. I call it rest I. E is to look at your emotions. What am I feeling? Now S, to look at your stories. What is the story, the trauma that comes with me? T is tools and techniques. And I is the I am. Okay, so I'm going to dive into that in just a few minutes here. But I want to jump into a few of these as I go. So W, being the witness, is the observer, and we're gonna spend some more time with that one. Spend a bit of time on emotions, not as much time on stories, not as much time on tools and techniques, a little bit of time on the I am, but just bear with me. So I'm gonna do the best I can to teach a few of these steps, because like I said, guys, this is years and years of work that I'm gonna pound into an hour webinar. W is witness, we'll talk about that. E is emotions, we're gonna spend a ton of time there. S is stories, which is the traumas from our childhood, our parents, our ancestors, our cultures, our society. T is tools and techniques. We'll do some of those. I is the I am, which is infinite love, infinite consciousness. And for some of you, this is just gibberish. And for those of you like, yeah, I get it. And before we end, because I can't do everything in an hour, because if I taught everything from a 4-day workshop in an hour, it would come out as vomit and you wouldn't understand a word. So I'm going to do the best I can to dive into a couple of these steps and give you an overview. And at the end, I can tell you how we can take this work further. Okay, let's jump in. Let's have some fun. Okay, let's talk some terminology. I'm going to shut this video off because this screen off is driving me crazy. We have two parts of us. We have the ego and we have spirit. We're going to spend a minute talking there. Spirit is a part of you that's connected to the I am. I'm going to say that in many different ways. Spirit is a part of you that knows your unconditional love. So let's just say this hand is the divine I am. Some people use the word God, spirit, source, unconditional love, the universe. That's where you originated from. You're not this body that's just showed up on planet Earth to orbit the sun. You come from an energy of unconditional love, and that's who you are to your core. If you're in doubt of that, if you're a cat or a dog person, just go hang out with your cat or dog. You're going to find the unconditional love. And then we have another part of us that's often called the ego. The ego is not a bad part. The ego is just what's called the separated self. The ego is a part of you that forgot that you were love. Take that in for a second. The ego is just a part of you that forgot that the core of who you are to every part of every cell of your body is love. Not a little bit of love, not a lot of love, a lot of love. A lot of love. This morning I went to the gym and I go to the same gym, I work out, doing a class, and we all showed up like 10 minutes early because that's what you're supposed to do. We're all sitting on our mats waiting for the class to start. It was a bar class. And I'm just sitting there, lights are on. There's like, whatever, a dozen of people around me, and I'm waiting for other people to come in. And I look over the hot woman behind me. She's like this far apart from me. So of course it makes sense to talk to her. I'm like, hi. Wall up, right? We have these wall ups because we're afraid. The walls up are protection. What are you protecting yourself from? I didn't say that to her. But what? I just said hi. I'm like, hi. And nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. It's like, but we want to see this wall up. The ego does is a self-protective mechanism. And my question is, what the heck are we protecting ourselves from? Because the truth of who we are is love. To believe it or don't, there's a truth in each of us, whether you get it or not, who wants to go up to each person on the screen and go, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. There is a party that wants to do it. Because everybody is everybody. We are all parts of the same energy. I'm going to say it slightly differently. If the ocean, and the ocean is about a block and a half from my room, where it's right there. The ocean, if you think of this as a visual for your brain, if you think of the ocean as God, unconditional love, spirit, source, that's the energy that's the creator. That's the energy that created the trees, the plants, all these beings on this call was the creator. This is the visual. Then Rachel's mom went over there with a little bucket. Francis' mom went over there with a little bucket. And Francis's mom went, put the bucket, put water in it, pulled it up and said, this is Francis and this is Rachel. So Rachel has a plastic part of her. It's a joke. That's the ego shell. But then she's full of unconditional love, or the creator. As is Francis, as is Deborah, as is Katie, and so on and so on and so forth. So somewhere in you is the creator, the I am, the unconditional love. And that's the truth of who you are. And that's the only place you will find peace. It's the only place you will find eternity of love. It's the only place you will heal your relationship. That's why I did that slide at the beginning. Well, if you want to bitch about your partner, join your Joe at Tim Hortons. I can't help you. If you want to heal what's going on with your partner, your boss, a partner not choosing you or whatever, come here. I will help you. If you want to do the work, I will help you because I know how to help you. I've done it with thousands of people. I know how to do it. But if you want to bitch about it, I am not your person. Okay? Because I believe that you are the creator of your experience. And everything in that crater, there's nothing wrong with it, but we have to heal it. Let me go back to my slides, because I problem with Divi is she will go off onto tangents. So I have to, my guys just said, go back to the slides. I'm like, okay, I'll go back to the slides now. Okay, so terminology. Separate self, which is the part of you that forgot your unconditional love. The ego is the part of you that thinks you're a body, because y'all know I'm not a body. I'm going to die one day. This body is a temporary thing. The body has amnesia of your divinity. The body holds past, future, and guilt, and it's the source of all pain. And everything you guys typed in at the beginning, not being chosen, not being respected, that's all the egos, just so you know. Spirit is your true spirit. It's your divine nature of who you are. It only holds unconditional love, joy, freedom, and ease. And it's always in the now. So I'm going to go through some of these steps. So some of them I'm going to do as practice too. So step one, let's talk about witnessing. Okay, so what do I mean by witness? Oh, what did I just do? I don't know what I just did. Oh no, I don't know what I just did. You guys are still here, right? You guys didn't see that. See that? I didn't put share. Okay, it's all good. So I techie Divi. So the ego is a part of you that forgot you're the divine. But we're going to jump into step one. Step one is the witness. Go to, this is a practice. Go and close your eyes. Once your eyes close, take 5 or 10 deep breaths. Take a long breath in and a slow breath out. Take a deep breath in and a quiet breath out. Just breathe. Take a part of your mind and step outside of yourself. So I want you to take a part of your mind and put it on the ceiling or on the wall next to you. And from that part of you that's in the wall, see yourself. Look at your body language. Notice what you're wearing. Notice your thoughts. Now take that part of the mind that's in the wall and put it on the moon. So a part of your mind is sitting on the moon looking down at you. And just see yourself. And now take that part of you that's on the moon and take it to Saturn. There you go. You're like the speck of dust that you can barely see on planet Earth. Stay here. And notice what's happening in your body. What's happening in your mind, what's happening in your, there you go, psyche, good, take a few breaths. This is called the observer or the witness consciousness. Maybe from Saturn, go out to another cosmos or galaxy. See if you can even see yourself. There you go. Some of you want to stay here, which is awesome. Some of you can just stay here a little bit longer, but when you're ready, start to come back. Using the chat box, no rush. When you come back, type in what you noticed. Use the chat box. What happened when you did that? What did you experience? What did you see? What did you notice? What happened? Give you guys a few minutes to do that. A sense of calm. Thanks, Sanaz. More relaxed. Nice, Jill. What else did you guys notice? I recognize my problems are small. Beautiful, Victoria. A sense of release. Nice. Reminds me of astral projection. Yeah, Brian, I got you. Pause and stillness, writes Haley. Butterflies in my stomach, but just felt relaxed. Lost some control in a positive way. Beautiful. a shift in my body. Nice. Okay. So that, remember how I said there's 5 steps? First one was the witness or the observer. I'm part of the whole. Nice, Francis. There is so much out there, and this is so small in my life. Exactly. So that was the first step, which is stepping into the observer or the witness. Deborah wrote she felt more calm. Yeah. Still saw my light. Beautiful. So that's step 1, is to become the witness. Now, the witness is, to be honest, one of the most important parts of self-development, but often the most often forgotten. But the thing is, you can witness yourself, but you can't stay out there. To create change is to go out there, but not live out there. Does that make sense? So beautiful. So let's go back into the slides, which is what I thought I did last time, but I did. I grab my slides back. So I don't go off on a tangent. And you have to deal with Divi. Like, just like, where did Divi go? I just went off on a tangent. Okay, cool. Step 1 is the witness. So, okay, perfect. So with the witness, you notice you're not the body. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not your mind. You step outside of yourself and you see yourself. Whoopsie, didn't mean to do that. Oops, sorry guys, I'm going backwards. I didn't mean to do that. Can tell I'm not as techie as I'd like to be. Let me see if I can go back 1 sec here, guys. They asked me to make the PowerPoints big so you guys can see them, but in the process of doing that, I don't exactly know how to do it without losing. It's all good. Okay, I'm just going to pause for a second. I'm going to try to do those 2 slides without losing you guys. So step 1 is being the witness, where you're out here looking at yourself. Got it? That's the first step, and it's probably the most important step. But you can't just stay out here in order to make change. That's the first thing. The second thing is, once you step out, you have to see yourself and observe your emotions. And that's what we're going to dive into next. Because you can't just step out there, notice yourself, and just stay out there. Okay, because that's kind of useless to just stay out there. Now, the next step out, even though step 1 is, to step out, see yourself, witness yourself. And step 5 is the I am. That's where I want to go to next. I want to go into the I am section next. And you'll see why I'm doing that next. The I am is the part of us that knows you're the infinite consciousness. Do you remember when I said the ocean, put a bucket in there? The I am is the part of you that knows your unconditional love. So go and close your eyes for a few minutes. Take a few breaths. Take a long breath in and a slow breath out. Take a deep breath in and a quiet breath out. If you wish, place your hand on your heart and say this statement in your mind's eye. I am as God created me. I am as love created me. I am as spirit created me. I am. I am. I am. Stay here. Stay here. Good. Good, good, good. And then start to come back. Use the chat box again and share. What did you notice? What did you notice as you did that? As you went into the I am. You guys wrote it. Warmth. Thanks, Katie. A tingling. Thanks, Nat. There's no fixing. Yes, Jude. The problem's dissolved. Yes, Deborah. Okay. And if you actually read the slide, it says, we're going to jump to step 5, even though we're only at step 1 right now. Because when you jump to step 5, you'll have an understanding of what I do for work. Traditional therapy has limitations, and I love traditional therapy, don't get me wrong. But the limitations are you stay stuck in the story. In traditional therapy, you stay in this idea that, yeah, my dad was bad, and that's why I'm wounded. Or my mom did this, and that's why I can't find a partner. And so you stay in these camps of good camps and bad camps, and that's of no service to you. So all the work I do is working with the I am, but I want you to experience it. Because who you are is the child of the divine. Who you are is infinite love and infinite consciousness. So that's step 5, but we're going to come back there in a second, okay? Now, for a second, I'm just going to pause for a second. You're going to see this slide many times. The reason I'm asking you to reflect and just share what you've learned so far is because whenever you reflect, you amplify your learning. So I'll give you guys a minute and just share in the chat box, what have you learned so far? Nothing, something, what have you learned? You worry too much, what have you learned? Just give it a second. You'll see this slide 3 or 4 times where I ask you to reflect back and ask, what have you learned so far? What have you learned so far in this webinar? I take myself too seriously. Nice, Lonnie. Good one. That's a good reflection. We're going to tattoo that on your mirror. What else is your reflection so far? I control my reality. Yeah. Possible to find peace in the moment. Exactly. I am more similar than not waking up this bodysuit. Exactly. Problems are in my mind. Yes, I'm in control of that. Relationships are spiritual. Yes, Jude. Amazing. Okay, good reflections. Okay, let's keep going here. Really great reflections. To take multiple deep breaths and center into my heart. Beautiful, Deborah. I am enough. Beautiful. Okay, we'll go back into the slides. So we got some good reflections. Amazing happening. Okay. So life is a journey, and we all know that, right? We all know life is a journey. And what did I just do? Our life is a journey, and to be honest, our life journey involves pain. And sometimes the pain is in relationships. Like I said, it can be bank account, health, whatever. But always in my world, always falls back to relationships. And each of those stories can be healed with the I am. That 4th point is probably the most important point ever. The mind cannot heal the mind. Only spirit can heal the mind. Now we're going to dive into step 2. Step 2 is emotions. Most of us are afraid of our emotions, and we often get stuck in certain emotions. As a human race, we have a tendency of numbing out from our emotions, or we overfeel them. So we numb out, we're on this phone all the time, walking around like a zombie, or we're like, oh, I'm so sad, it's awful, it's horrible. We're one or the other. Okay. And we can get trapped in that. But we want to remember an emotion is energy in motion. It wants to move. The emotions feel real, and they are, but they can keep cycling. So regardless if you're numbing out or overfeeling them, the ego loves to do both. Got it? It's only when we start working with some deep tools and techniques that we have a hope of stepping out of the cycle that just keeps us trapped. So the thing is, in order to actually feel, it can be challenging in our society. We've got kids, we've got partners, we've got bosses, we've got friends, we've got computer screens, we've got jobs. But we've all heard our emotions are the key to healing. But in order to feel our emotions, we have to be in a safe place that we can be honored, respected, and acknowledged. The feeling it, guys, is actually only the first step. Okay, it's just the first step. And we have to start to learn to feel our emotions and step out of it. A lot of people get into spiritual work, do something called bypassing, or like, I'm fine, my car just got hit by a truck, but I'm fine. And really, they're pissed off, right? But they won't let themselves feel it. So the first step is feeling emotions. And the ego is going to cycle. The ego is going to blame. It's going to tell you your story is right. It'll keep you in pain. Tells you that person can't be trusted, and convinces you that something is wrong with you. And this cycle just keeps continuing on and on and on and on. If you want to die with your story, go ahead. But you're not in this webinar because you want to die with that story. You want to heal that pain. And this is a good slide. The feeling that gets us stuck is called powerlessness. And the ego loves the emotion of powerless. It loves it because it goes into powerlessness, and then it goes into blame, then it goes to anger, then it goes to rage, then it goes to sad, then it goes to despair, then it goes to unworthy, and it just keeps cycling. So use the chat box. Where do you get stuck? So you can see the cycle that you guys get into, or we all get into. Where do you get stuck? More in powerless, more in anger, more in blame, more in revenge. Where do you get stuck? Sadness. Thanks, Jill. Where do you get stuck? I'll give you guys a second. Anger. Thanks, Matt. Unworthiness. Beautiful, Katie. We got some forgiveness. Yep, you get stuck there too. It's true. You get stuck in anger, stuck in hatred, stuck in powerlessness and sad, get stuck in fear. Nice, Haley. How else do you guys get stuck? Powerless. Nice, Naz. Sadness. Good. despair. Beautiful, Chuck. Okay, so you can see how the ego just loves to like stick you into one slot and keep you there. I want you to pause for a second. I think this is the next slide, believe it or not. Just gonna make sure. Okay, now look back. Do you guys remember the very, very, very beginning? I asked you to type in why you're here, and some of you wrote things like, I'm here because I can't find a partner. I can't find this. I can't find that. I want you to look back at the very first thing you typed in. Can you see that that feeling was powerless, anger, or blame? Can you look back at that? Yeah. You guys look back way at the beginning. I'm going to see what you guys wrote down at the beginning. You wrote, besides where you're from, you wrote down not being accepted. That would make me feel powerless, being cheated on, powerless. Hard time showing my love. Oh God, that would make me feel stuck. Not being understood. You guys see that? So everything you guys wrote down, which I love, all of them are the ego's thought systems that are actually running the show. So the ego wants to keep you in this box and just hold you there and just keep you. That's what its job is. So we get stuck in powerlessness because it's like a yucky muck. We can feel like a victim to our circumstances. We can feel there's no hope. We can feel trapped. But the ego loves that feeling. And most of us have heard the concept that there's 7 spiritual solutions to every problem. You're like, but where is it? I'm stuck. I don't see that way out. So let's spend some time talking about how to work with powerlessness. If you come to any of my events, we spend a lot of time here because it's super important. There are a lot of techniques to step out of powerlessness. Combo of physiological, mental, and emotional. Okay. Now the body first needs to move because it goes mind, body, body, mind. If my body feels powerlessness, then I'll trigger thoughts to my mind that you're stuck, you're stuck, you're stuck. So the body needs movement. It needs to move the anger. It needs to move the sadness, but that's only part of the work. The other part of the work is with the mind. Okay. The mind has forgotten that you are infinite. You are a consciousness of the divine. You are love. You are spirit. You are the I am. And to be honest, this is why traditional therapies stop working, because they're not integrated into this. And because, so don't forget, I used to be a doctor. And in medicine, as most of you know, it goes like, okay, this is the person's body, and anything spiritual is over there. And to be honest, traditional counseling, and I'm not knocking traditional counseling at all. It's like, let's work with the mind. If you want to talk to God, go to church. And so there's a big wall there, especially in Canada, to get things paid for. It's like, you've got to stay in this box. But the thing is, what if you need to, not going to church, but what if, go to church if you want, not knocking church. But what if you need to enter that spiritual realm to heal over here? And this is why traditional therapies fail, because if somebody came to my office and says to me, I'm powerless to my mom and I make her the good camp and the bad camp, I can only take her so far. There's a point, I keep saying that like a waterfall, where if you're willing to go further, where there's a part of you that was never hurt by your mother. There was a part of you who was chosen by love. There was a part of you that is spirit. And if it was that easy, we could hit off and you can go have a great night. The reason it's not that easy is because the ego has been running you for 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. Plus, you've got your thought systems. You've got the subconscious of your mother, your father, your grandparents, and so on. You've got the subconscious of the culture and society. I've been teaching this work for close to 25 years. Between my yoga realm and this realm, 25 years. I got to work with the ego every single day. I am no different than you. I put my pants on one leg at a time. And every day I have to work with mine. I'm just faster at it. So if I hit a rock, I'm like, oh, I can bounce out faster. Sometimes I stay down there, day or two, bounce back out. But I also know how to hit energies of joy and love and peace more powerfully. Got it? So if it was just a matter of, yeah, you're God, off you go. You're a child of God, off you go. Done. Read a book, you're done. But why is the bookshelves at the health metaphysical bookstore so full, but we're all still struggling? It's because there's a massive gap between the books and the application. And I do that gap because I love to teach this work. I mean, to be honest, I hate writing books, but I'm writing another one, even though I hate writing books. It's so much work. But there's the gap between books and application. That's what I do. So You want to know that there is a realm beyond your story, but you can't heal just by knowing the story. You have to be willing to enter the realm, and that's the key. Consistently, more often, more deeply, and it's like over and over and over again, and eventually it goes. And they want me to teach you one more thing that's not in the slides, especially for those of you who've been studying with me for a while, which there's a bunch of you. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to paraphrase it from the Course in Miracles. I'm probably going to get the phrase wrong. The ego loves to tell you what to do, a boss, but it can also be an amazing servant. It's a horrible boss, like, Deborah, go do, you're wrong. Awful boss. But it can be an amazing servant if you tell it what to do. But most of us don't know how to do that because all we do is listen to it. Got it? But it can be an amazing servant if you go, ego. So if I say to the ego, stop that. Ego, forgive that. If I tell the ego what to do, it's an amazing servant, but it's a when it's bossing me, I'm screwed. Okay. But switching between boss and servant is the work I teach people how to do. And it's work. Back to my slide so I don't go off on a tangent again. Okay. Okay, we did work with powerless. That's amazing. Okay. Get the slide to move. Okay, slide is not moving. One sec. Okay, I gotta hit share again. All right. All right, we already went through all these slides. I want to get to after powerlessness. Okay. We did working with powerlessness. Okay. And at the end of the day, everything is perception. I can see the world through the perception of love or fear, and we've all heard that. But the only reason that fear is faster is because it's in your nervous system and it's run you. And fortunately or unfortunately, it is actually that easy, but it's harder to practice. It's hard to put into place because the ego's got us bound in a world of fear. I put up a social media post the other day that said, fear is not real. And you should have seen the DMs I got back from that one. People were like, what do you mean fear's not real? What are you, an idiot? I'm like, yeah, it's not real, but you have to really practice with the mind to know that fear is not real. But it's a practice to know that fear is the illusion. It's practice. Okay, where am I? Okay, so perception. It takes time. That's what I keep saying. It takes consistency. It takes a deep desire. And because the ego's been running your nervous system for a long time, it's going to take a little bit of work. There's a quote in here, something from playing cards. There's an analogy from playing cards that if you're playing a set of cards, the hand is in favor of the house. Identically in the spiritual realm, the hand is in favor of spirit because spirit wants you to heal this. So I brought your ancestors in because when I was teaching that meditation at the beginning, a bunch of your ancestors came up to me and said, tell them to bring me in. Because the ancestors want you to heal whatever's going on for you, because a lot of your thought systems are because of stuff that they didn't heal, and they are here to help you in healing that. Okay, so pause. Remember I said I'd do this a few times. What have you learned so far? So use the chat box. What have you learned so far? Go into the chat box. I'll give you guys a minute. What have you learned? That you're messed up for life. That was a joke. What have you learned? Do a reflection for a second. The more you share it, the more it's going to become cemented into your mind. The ego loves to tell us what to do. Exactly, Joe. Loves it. Loves it. The ego loves me to be in guilt all the time. The fear is faster. Yeah, it's in your nervous system. Exactly, Lonnie. This is going to take time and work. Exactly, Rachel. It's, you got the rest of your life. It's like, what do I choose to do? The idea of ego being a servant versus boss. That's a good one, Jody. I like that one too. My ancestors are here to help me. Yeah, they really are, Deborah. That working on assessing my spirit and connecting to it is important. Well, to me now, I can't imagine living life without it. And I totally respect what you wrote, 100%. ACIM, ego can be a horrible boss. Exactly, Inga. To be more consistent with the I am. The ego can be a powerful servant. Yes, Haley. No one is at fault, even me. Thank you, Chuck. The ego can be a good servant. Yeah, very good servant. And love is the answer. Thanks, Victoria. Yeah, great reflection so far. We're going to go back to the slides in a minute. Something that popped in from something some of you guys said. One of you guys said here. Give me a sec here. I'll pop back in a second. Oh, yeah. So I was teaching this workshop. Somebody wrote about ancestors. I taught this workshop for single people, let's say 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I ran to this gentleman at the gym like 3 or 4 days later. And you have to know, I'll run into you on the street. And I'll be like, huh, who are you? And I'm like, I don't have a clue. Because that's how my brain works. That's how I can do this work. So I was coming up the steps. Oh, Jill, you're at that workshop. It was one of the guys that was at that workshop. Anyways, this gentleman at the workshop, his grandfather kept coming in around, what was around? It was around being the hero in every area of his life. And then it turned out that this client who was in the room was always being the hero. And his grandfather wouldn't leave because it turned out that the grandfather was a World War I or II vet, I don't remember, and a hero in the war. Yes, Juice. Oh yeah, Juice, you were there too. I have a worse memory. And then it was like a massive breakthrough to him because he's reliving his grandfather's things. Got it? So our ancestors, I'm jokingly saying, screwed us up. That's a joke. But they are here to help us because they have transitioned into unconditional love. And they looked at us going, Victoria's got that thing. Jill's got that thing, biting their nails, going, okay, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? So at the beginning of the workshop, when I was having you guys meditate, your ancestors tapped me and said, remind them we're here. Remind them we're here. I'm like, okay. Because the reason you're here is something that wasn't healed in them. It could be your mom, your dad, your aunt, your grandparents. And that's what we are here to heal. Okay, let's go back to the slides here. Okay, let's see if I can manage this. Where am I? Okay, it might be here, though I don't know. Okay, we did the reflection. Yay. Okay, what's next? Okay. Oh, testimonial time. Okay, like I said, there were a lot of new people, so I threw these up. Somebody attended a workshop of mine. She was lucky. It was Monday, she. She did a lot of personal development work, and she found that this was nothing like she experienced. It's a different realm. It is a different realm. Going to a workshop can be fearful, but you wake up your intuition, which is life-changing. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. I'm paraphrasing. So I'm just going to read this instead of paraphrasing. Going to a weekend workshop, I had a ton of fear using my intuition from earlier life experiences. That was completely released in a few minutes in 1 session of receiving coaching. I'm now fully stepping into the power of my intuition and abilities without hesitation and fear. Help me unlock something and is setting me on an entirely different trajectory in my life. I'm beyond excited. It's transformative and mind-blowing. Okay, now we're going to, remember I said there's 5 steps? Step 1 was witness. Step 2 is emotion. Step 3 is stories and trauma. We're not going to explore this today, but in my longer workshops, I will. We all have traumas and stories that create powerlessness and anger. And your trauma story could be real. Maybe your mom was a real, maybe your dad really did, right? But we have to explore those. We need to, okay? Because the ego is going to grab them like a linchpin and grab you with it. But don't you remember your dad did this? Don't you remember your mom did this? And the ego just does that to keep us in the loop. Step 4, tools and techniques. Okay, this is the juice of the work. It's where we actually experience a miracle. Because a miracle is a shift of perception from fear to love. A miracle is a natural expression of love. So before I keep going, I want to share with you guys. So remember I said at the beginning, you have the God self in you. You are a child of God and it's in you. And you're over here in your mind like this, not experiencing miracles. My job is to open the God self in you so it can hit that part of your mind that's going like that. And that's where miracles occur. A miracle is a shift from fear to love. A miracle is a natural expression of love. If miracles are not occurring, something is wrong. Okay. Because I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, and I like to think miracle-mindedness. I love to think that little shift in perception, shift in perception changes everything. Everything. The only reason I do this work, guides, straight up, is because Spirit tells me to. In some ways, it'd be easier for me to go back to running a one-to-one business because then I have to show up for these webinars, I don't have to dress up, I don't have to work weekends. But Spirit, I know better because whenever Spirit taps me and tells me to do something, if I don't do it, my body hurts, something happens. So I do this because my Holy Spirit tells me to. That's why I do this. And you're here because your Spirit brought you here. It's really that simple. Okay, it's really that simple. And if you hang out with me, we're going to open up this area that is God consciousness and decrease the thought system that says something's wrong. And that's how miracles occur. Let me go back to because I'm going to go off on a tangent again. And I know I said I would leave time for Q&A, so I promised to do that. So let me go back to my slides. Where am I? Okay, we already did that reflection. We're past that. We're past trauma. Okay. Okay, miracles. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, great. Sorry, guys. Tools, techniques, I am, right? So the I am. This is the party that knows your worth. It's the party that lives in peace, abundance, and joy. It's the party that knows your infinite worthiness. And it only looks at things right now. And it's hard to imagine that that exists in you, but it's in you right now. Okay? Because the I am can look at everything and go, yes. The I am can rewire your mind and say yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Spirit wants you to experience miracles, which is why you're here. Spirit does not want you to be in pain. Spirit wants you to live the life you came for. But in order to have that, you have to have contrast. It's not your partner's fault. It's not your father's fault. It's not your mother's fault. You chose them. And I personally want you to experience miracles. Or else why would I do this work? Why would I do it? One more testimonial before I do a bit of a wind down. This is from a client who came to that Singles Day workshop. So she was in a relationship, but she's single, okay? And so she came to a Singles Day workshop, even though she's in a couple, because she couldn't make the relationships workshop at the end of the month. And this is what she sent me 2 days later. Since that workshop, things have been better with him than him and me. So I want to tell you a little bit about her story. She had the chronic story of never being chosen. Never being chosen. And it was either at the workshop, and sometimes what happens is after a workshop, my guides will ping me because I don't remember if it was at the workshop or the next day. I got pinged and I sent her a message. And I sent her a message, or it might have been in the workshop, and I said, Spirit has already chosen you. Go there. Watch this. When she goes, choose me, choose me, choose me, she's showing up with a platter with no food on it, saying, please, please, please. So it's like it's a negative vortex. Like, is this making sense to you? It's like, please, 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 please. And it quote unquote repelled the guy. Not, does that make sense? It's like a negative energy. It's like a magnet pushing away from each other. So I told her the workshop, she's already been chosen by the divine and by God, and her heart opened. And that was the thing at the testimony I got 2 or 3 days later. Because when she's not showing up saying, choose me, she's chosen. Now she's done tons of work on herself. She did that final little shift. But whenever we go out looking for something that's innate to us, that's where we're hooked. That's where we're hooked. Let me see. I don't know if I've got more slides. Give me a sec. I might open up to Q&A and coaching now, and then I'll do the final slides at the end. Wait a second. Let me just check here. Questions, coaching. What's coming up for you guys? Let's see what's left on my slides here. What's coming up for you? Questions, coaching. Anything coming up for you guys? And what you want to do is go to the bottom screen where the hand is and put the reactions button. Okay, we're going to go to that slide in a second. I'll see if there's any questions. Are there any questions? Coaching. Oh, this is fire. Yay. Thanks, Joni. Oh, yeah, we've got some. Oh, wait, we got lots of hands. Okay, before I grab your hands, let me do my close. Then I'm going to grab my hands because it could be a bit of time. Let me do my close then. 20 seconds. Not my close, but tell you what all my offerings are. Then I'll grab the questions. Okay, cool. If you're ready to shift and take these 5 steps further, then we will. Okay. This work is life-changing. I put in those testimonials because there are a bunch of new people, but it requires you to decide you're ready. Again, I love you, but if you want to come hang out with me and the entire time you tell me that there's no good men in Vancouver, I'm not your coach. Okay, I am not. But if you want to come to me and say, look, I've dated and I keep getting the same guy, I can help you. 100% can help you. I've got no questions with that. I have no questions because it's not me. It's Spirit. Spirit does all the work. I just get to show up. I just get to show up and have fun. Let me finish my slides and then I'm excited to talk to you guys. Okay, let's see. What are my offerings? Okay, I've got 2 offerings. First option, at the end of March, the end of this month, so in about 2 weeks, I've got a workshop here in town. There's still a couple of spots left. It's a deep immersion. It's $7.99. You can bring a friend for free. It's March 29th and 30th. It's 2 full days. Okay, and it's all about relationships. Okay. Second option that I'm starting in May is a class called Wounds to Wisdom. It's 8 weeks. It's 8 people. It's 2 hours a week, and it's limited to 8 people. It's $9.99 per month, and you have to apply for it. That's how I've set it up. Is you send an application, and the benefit of the difference between the 2-dayer and the Wounds to Wisdom, the benefit of the weekly is that you can actually take the work, go into your week, take the work, go into your week. And if you really want to do both, I'll take part of your money from the 29th, 30th and apply it to the second one. No questions at all. And you might just want to come for a weekend because the idea of giving me 8 weeks of your time is a long time. If you want to do both, like I said, I'll apply some of the money, but I've limited that to 8 people. I'll be doing that one online and in person, and I'll stick the link in the chat box I'm in here. And there might not be any more slides, but I'll check in one sec here. There might be just a concluding slide, but we'll leave that for now. So let me just stick into the chat box that application, and then I want to hear from you guys. Okay, Lilani, go for it. Yay, I did it. Whew. Okay. Whew.
Nice job.
It's not my thing. Yes, Joni, it's a group. It's 8 people, Joni. It's a group of 8 people, 2 hours a week. Yes. Hey, Lilani.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm just gonna ask you this. Um, what is the next, yeah, what's the next miracle? Like, what are, um, from it, from guides, intuition, ancestor perspective, like, where's the next shift for me?
I love you. I'll see if they can answer. Give me 20 seconds. Coming into your own where you don't need any validation. And this is, so guys, when I do questions, sorry, Lonnie, give me 20 seconds. When I do a question, the answer I'm going to give Lilani is actually for all of us. Because of the law of one, Lilani represents Victoria, represents Chuck, represents Deborah. Okay, so even though I'm talking to Lilani, I'm talking to all of you. I don't know what I just said, by the way. Knowing you are whole and complete in yourself and you don't need anything outside yourself, and to find peace instead of anything. And what Lilani, this one I'm going to push you on. To know there's this, I'm going to push you, and we'll probably do this when you come up for return to self. To know that there's only one will, and that's God's will. Breathe, honey. Breathe, 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 breathe. There. You just surrendered your mid back. Surrendering to the will of love. That's for you, Lonnie. That's right between your shoulder blades in the back. How does that feel?
Something that I have been struggling with. Yeah.
Well, we will when you come up. I can't wait. By the way, are you in Mexico for that retreat with Dan Alexander?
I'm in Mexico, but I won't be at that retreat space. So,
okay, well, I'll see you here.
But yeah, but happy to hang out if you want to. So,
well, that's zone. Yeah, for a couple nights after. So yeah, I'll definitely.
Cool. Okay.
Does that help?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Fine. Hey, Deborah. Finally, I get to talk to you. It's like 2 or 3 weeks we've been trying.
Oh, have you? Oh, yes, that's right. I was right up at the line, right? That's okay. It's all sweet. I think the last time that happened, well, I've got two things going on here. Echo. Sorry about that. Oh, this is so good. And it comes to Q&A. This applies and doesn't apply. Yes, it's my ancestors. I've got this huge question, like, I need to know more there. You helped me a little bit. And then I think that was the question I was going to ask you the last time. Hey, I think I want to meet my grandma. Like, that was when I first met when my grandpa showed up instead.
Right.
But it doesn't matter who it is. I just want someone that's got the highest interests in where I'm going and what I'm doing, and to understand a little bit more these. Like you said, if you're doing a lot of things and you're still running into walls, it can be something ancestrally. I think that's what I'm actually asking about.
Okay, well, to be honest, none of your ancestors are showing up right now. When I asked them who's around you, they said Christ consciousness around you, the divine mother's around you, and there's a wall up in front of you, and they want me to ask you what the wall is about. Breathe, breathe, breathe. It's like right in front of your chest. What's that about? What? Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably my friend scope is very narrow right now. And I find I've said this to you before, like since meeting you and since January, it's just I'm diving in and exploring so much that's broadening me.
Great.
And so there isn't a welcome really with anyone other than I talk to my husband about it, about all what I'm evolving into. Um, so today, my friend had invited me to some um, performance, like acting show. And I thought it was at night because she'd been going all night to help all week. And so I texted her at noon and said, okay, what's the time here? I need to know. And she says, oh, I'm already here. Um, that's my frontal current wall. And it's happened before. And it's sort of like I get invited and then she forgets that she's invited me. So, yeah. And it's sort of like, wow, that doesn't fit into everything else that you say, a friendship. And I realize she just probably forgets and is in another zone. I've got grace for that, but that's the only wall that I can think of that's like right current.
I'm going to dive into that one.
Okay.
Okay, so I love the fact that you have grace for her, but what I really want, where I want you to go deeper, I'm going to push you. Remember I said,
Right. Push, okay.
So if I have a friend out here who's constantly, I wrote down the word ignoring, neglecting me, forgetful, then it's a mirror, and you know this, it's a mirror to where am I neglecting and forgetting myself.
Okay.
Okay, and it's right here. Like this part of my body is really tight right now.
Okay.
So the heart chakra area, left side sternum is like, and then you've got a knife in your back as well. Right.
Still, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't remember if there's a knife last time, but
I don't know that. I thought it was gone. It was since 2 years old, but I thought it was gone.
It's like right underneath your shoulder blade, and it's more around sort of. And see, I don't think I'm going to lose.
Is it on my left?
It's on your right.
Okay. The right is where it was before, but lately I've been noticing what was this constant, almost eternal pain on my right. It's from a deep trauma.
And where you're stuck is, and it goes hand in hand with the question as to what ancestors around me, and it goes along with what Lonnie said. Unfortunately, this work isn't knowing; it's the heart being it.
Right.
Breathe, 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 breathe. Breathe into your solar plexus.
And I've got a question. I understand about the heart knowing it, but I obviously just totally did a chasm there, and I don't relate. I don't understand inside of me what my heart isn't relating to.
And it's going to be tough for me to explain it because if you ask the people who came to Palm Springs, I think it was day 3, day 4, it started to land. Like it's a deep question. It's not just like a sprinkle, I can answer in 2 seconds.
Right.
What I can say to you is, and this is from Course in Miracles, I'm going to paraphrase from A Course in Miracles. The total paraphrase. You will only heal when you start to see the trauma that you perceive happened did not occur.
Okay.
Breathe. And that's really tight here for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the deep rewiring, because this central part of you, of the I am, was never touched. And you know that, but that ego part, you doesn't know it.
Right. And I have had some experience of that lately. Amazing. So this is obviously just another area that I need to go deeper in. Yeah. That's good.
Help?
Yeah, it does. I think where I had my breakthroughs, and I'll just check if I'm on the right path or way out to lunch, where I had my breakthroughs with the other emotions was going far, far out, like you did, like you took us initially, where you take us so far out that then it dims and it's not the important factor.
Nice.
But that a part of me feels like that's escapism if I just do that. So help me with unpacking. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to make
it a little hard to answer in 2 seconds. That's why the class are 8 weeks, 2 hours a week. Do you get it?
Okay.
Because it's like It's not, there's no picture of a paintbrush. I can't just paint on and say, happy smiley face,
Right.
right?
Yes.
I teach in person because if somebody asked me, I'd say my je ne sais quoi of the work I do is in person. Where I'm like, no, it didn't happen. No, it didn't. No, 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 is what she's yelling at me right now. That's my mother yelling at me right now. Tell her to stop. And that's why this woman is neglecting you. Because you're neglecting her, the divine mother that just yelled at you. Breathe, honey. Breathe, 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 breathe.
Okay, I missed that. I thought you were saying it was your mother yelling at you.
No, the divine mother was yelling at you. So guys, if you ever come to a workshop of mine in person, sometimes they yell, and it's not my favorite thing at all.
No, that's fine.
And but it's how they sometimes come through, and Jude's had a chance to see it lots of times, because it's sort of like to wake us up, because the ego has us by a clench pen.
Right. Okay, so do the act again. My divine mother was yelling at me and saying,
do it again.
No, tell her stop. That's fine.
Listen to
I'm
the
just
recording.
rehearsing
I
it back to you.
can't do it twice. I can barely do it once.
I loved it.
Okay.
I just misheard you. I thought you were saying,
No,
my mother is yelling at me. I missed the divine. All right, thank you so much. That's awesome.
All right.
Really appreciate that.
I just love it when I yell. Thanks, Haley. I don't. Hey, Jades.
Hi, Debbie.
How are you?
Question one. I'm getting a little bit confused around like us being responsible and creator of what we bring into our lives versus surrendering to divine intelligence and the timing of the universe.
It's a great question. Great question. Great question. So a lot of our creations, how they want me to answer it, occurs by default because of the subconscious stuff that we're taught. Does that make sense? And if the stuff that we're creating, to use that word, is not something that we like, then we have to heal whatever's in the subconscious by default. Does that make any sense what I just said? Does that make sense a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great question. Super deep question. But a lot of the, like I look at my own life and it's like, oh, how did I create that? Oh yeah, okay, I get it. That unconscious part there, got it. So I have to heal that, because that's where I can surrender to the I am of who I truly am. When I see that that's a lie or an untruth that was stamped to my subconscious. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I've created this pain. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I have a second question.
Yeah, go for it.
I noticed, so I used to work in a clinic,
Okay.
and then we like to like sometimes, and then we have like census and everything. So then a lot of times we're like not open for intake. And then I kind of sense that I also have that energy around me. Where like 1 week ago I was like complaining about lack. And then like now, 1 week later, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's too much. Not open to intake. So yeah, what's your feedback around that for me?
So now it's like a flood of people?
Yeah, and then I'm like super overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Give me just 1 sec. What do you want to do?
Well, I want to be like going on dates that are of good quality and getting to know people.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about it's not that I'm trying to take out the word good quality, but how about just go on dates so I can figure out what my vibration is?
Mm.
And ask my guides
Okay.
to like, have somewhere in the course it says something like, I surrender to you, Spirit, to take me where I'm meant to take me, to heal what I'm meant to heal.
Right.
There. Do you see how, and that connects to the surrender word.
Right. So
Like-
whatever,
Go ahead.
yeah, so whatever spirit brings to me is the lesson of the day
And what I'm meant to learn next. It's like
and what
I
I'm meant to
heal
learn.
this layer next. Like if you ask, because there's a bunch of the people who are on the call who are in the return to self class, and they're in the one just ahead of you, so they're building their businesses. So right now they're like, oh, look what I'm creating. I keep bringing, I'm making this up. Clients who won't pay me, clients who are going over time. Oh, interesting. So you got to look at what's in their subconscious. So now
Okay.
dating, let me see what comes in so I can see what is next for me to heal.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Amazing. I'm going to grab what Joni wrote. And Rachel, Joni wrote, is there a bridge between loving the part of her history in a way that is bringing her closer to healing? Remember that it is not separate. There is a way, but sometimes what people do, Joni, is they spend too much time in that place, which I know Deb has, but then you have to get to a point where there's no bottom to this barrel. And I just have to go, okay, this is a lie. I was always safe with God. And thanks, Rachel, for typing that in about when I yell. Not my favorite thing at all in the world to do. So my apologies, Deborah.
No problem. No problem.
You're muted, Brian. Yeah.
Oh, I was waiting. Okay.
Okay.
This is it's not quite two questions, it's just two angles on the same question.
Shoot.
Why is the ego always treated as a scapegoat? Or why are the two framings either the ego is something that either dominates you or something to be dominated, with the master or slave analogy?
Okay. I'm going to see if is there a second question too?
No, that was it.
Okay.
Either scapegoat or dominate/dominated.
Okay. So I'm gonna, please tell me if this answers your question. Please tell. So when you enter this, especially because I teach from A Course in Miracles, so they don't try to make the ego the bad part, but they're trying to explain how powerful spirit is, how powerful love is, and our society is based on so much fear. So it's not about making the ego the bad thing or the wrong thing, but it's about us seeing, hey, this way of thinking is not serving you. It's not serving who you truly are, but the way Earth is set up with dichotomy or polarity, we need opposites, which is part of this realm. We have opposites. So it's not meant to be a scapegoat, or it's not meant to be dominated, because neither, it's not, I don't believe it's meant to be dominated or a scapegoat, but it's meant to be seen of like, oh, I don't have to believe that thought anymore. Oh, I don't need to think that I'm not beautiful. Oh, I don't need to think that I'm not enough. So I'm not scapegoated. I haven't made it the wrong voice, but I've brought that voice to the front to go, oh, this voice drives me crazy. And it's put a lot of fear in me. But I want to have a relationship with her, and I'm not making it wrong, but I want to understand it through unconditional love. Does that help at all? Does that make any sense what I just said?
Yeah, balance is enough.
Okay. And when I teach these webinars, which are more introductory, the idea is not to make the ego wrong, but to just bring it to our attention as to how much it runs our mind. But how I work with the ego, I call it the ego, not my ego, is like, oh, there's the voice that's judging. But I'm not making it wrong. I'm not saying, it's like, oh, okay. So it's like, I can choose that, or I can choose unconditional love.
I guess that kind of becomes a follow-on question that you don't have to answer now. But like you did, the distinction you just made of the ego versus my ego, if you think the same framing of one great spirit, we are all manifestations of it. There's the spirit, and we are just tendrils of it. Is there the mirror of the ego that is tendriling everybody, or does everybody have their own unique ego?
No, that's exactly, you just answered it. It's one collective ego. And that's why we're law of one. I am you, you are I. And the ego is the tentacles of all the one. Just like spirit is all one, and you are a portion, so is Lilani, so is Francis. And so we typically call it the ego, not my ego, because it's a one collective unconscious. That's how I've always studied it. That's how it makes sense to me. That's how I've learned it. Does that help?
Yep, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Hey, Haley.
Hi.
Hey.
So,
Tiffy doesn't.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said you love it when I yell. I'm teasing you.
Oh yeah. You've yelled at me a couple times and I really needed it. So yeah, I love it when you do that.
Go for it.
This lunar eclipse that just happened really kicked me in the ass.
Me too. Yeah.
And I got sick. And for me, whenever I get sick, it's like I know I'm up leveling in some way, like I'm leveling up, and my body is purging something that can't come along with me. And this one feels really big, and I just want to get clarity on what it is that I'm being asked to let go of right now. When I tune into it, there's a connection to my mother.
Okay.
I don't know if it's her feelings of like shame or fear or something. But I feel it's connected to her in some way. So yeah, I just want to get some clarity on what it is exactly I'm being asked to release. And I also feel called to like incorporate some sort of a ritual for myself later tonight.
Nice.
So yeah, anything you get from that would be really helpful.
I wrote 3 things down. I didn't realize I wrote the same thing twice. I wrote playing small, giving too much, playing small.
Okay, yeah, got
Does
it.
that resonate?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I gotta stop doing that.
Well,
Damn it.
rather than thinking stop doing it, get to the core of it, which, like you said, is from your mom,
Yeah,
and then forgive it. Work with the Divine Mother. Work with the Goddess, and just say here. And you've done the forgiveness work with me. Give it to her.
yeah.
And it's in your right behind your shoulder blades, right below your mid shoulder blades. It's like, can I allow that strength to enter me?
Mm,
Can I imagine myself that powerful and that big and that I am energy? Can I allow it to enter me?
mhm.
Can I allow that worth to enter me? There, right
Yeah.
there, right there. Right? Kind of around your bra line area. That's where I'm feeling it.
Mhm.
How does that feel?
Yeah, I think there's a fear of like if I embody the bigness of my spirit, then uh it, there's some sort of story of like it'll scare people away because
You
it's
said
so
that, the ego or spirit.
oh the ego.
Yeah, because your back just got tight again. So like these stories will keep going on and on and on.
Yeah.
It's funny how you didn't even have to take a breath. You said, there's some story there. It's like you've rehearsed it.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, so funny. It's like my ego convincing me that I need to be cautious about my I don't know about my bigness or something wants me to hesitate. Yeah.
And Brian just typed in that quote by Marianne Williamson, right? Our greatest fear, right? Which I know you know that quote.
Yes, yeah.
All your guys keep saying is tell her to be still, because what you can see is the mind is just going to go. It's going to go. It's going to go. It's going to go.
Mhm.
You don't, and I think both you and a bit Lilani and a bit Deborah want to know what it is, as opposed to just saying, I'm done with this thought system. You know how different that is? It's like
Mhm.
what we try to do is we try to get to the core, and this is all the ego. What is that thought? Who is that ancestor? What do I need to know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
make it really simple. Can I just be love?
Yeah.
Even take out the word powerful. Can I just be the unconditional, badass, love matriarch I'm meant to be?
Mhm.
Oh, there, right there, right there. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels very true.
The badass matriarchy I'm meant to be.
Mhm.
Right there. Your breath. Do you notice how your mind isn't trying to figure anything out right now?
Yeah.
Clinch, right? Because I think, and I mean, I've tried to hammer into return to self. Those of you guys that are like 7 months in now, is if you keep trying to look for what's wrong, the ego will just give you something else. Oh yeah, it's because this. Oh, it's because that. Oh, it's because. Try to stand still and be in the power. See how
Mhm.
hard that is. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, right there. Notice how quiet you are.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, why can't I just accept it?
Let me yell at you. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. No, you're right. It's just surrender. We're surrendering the mind, really. That's all it is. Yeah.
And today's Course in Miracles from whatever day 73, day 72, whatever it is there is no will but God's will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I have to say to anybody who's new to Divi's work, I'm about 6 months into her Return to Self program, and I'm a completely different woman that I was when I first met Divi. Like, it's absolutely mind-blowing the amount of abundance and miracles and peace that I see in my everyday life. So if you feel called, just don't question it, just go for it.
You're trying to make me cry. You're doing a good job. So thanks. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Sanaz.
Hi. Hi, Divi. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, so this starting this year, I've something shifted in my life, a really big shift. And I do listen to my intuition a lot, and and I feel like I guess this is the right path for me that I'm taking, but at the same time, I'm hesitant.
Okay.
You know, like, okay, is this, and I don't know if it's because maybe it's my fear that I'm just don't know if this is the right path, because it's a very hard decision to go to this path. But my intuition says do it, but I'm also really in too much in my thoughts. So I don't know, and also past experiences.
And when you say do it, do you want to share a bit more, or do you want to keep it confidential?
Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, so like I'm going through like maybe separating my husband of 27 years.
Okay.
So it's
All right. The first words I heard, can I jump in? The first word I heard was it's about time. You've lost yourself in it, and it's all in your upper stomach and your small intestine. No, I know that's not where the upper stomach, small intestine sits, but it's showing me it's about time. You've lost yourself. You don't know who you are anymore. It's in your neck, it's clenching you, and it's not about him. You okay if I keep talking?
Yes, please. Yes.
You were not taught to know who you were. As who the fuck does? Sorry for swearing. Who the fuck does they are, right? You were never taught to know who you were, so you became enmeshed with him or your partner, which is super normal. Interesting. And they said, and put down a little bit. But there's something in you that's crying to wake up and crying, and like Haley made me cry. Now you're going to make me cry. And she wants to wake up in you. So it's not a decision to leave him as much as a decision to find you. How was that sitting?
Yeah. It's a really, yeah. I don't know. It's hard to share. So, I feel like I need to find myself for sure. That you said this, I am lost in myself, and I need to find myself for sure. That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah, beautiful. And it wouldn't be wrong to stay. It wouldn't be wrong to leave. But the cardinal is to find yourself, and depending on the relationship, sometimes it's very challenging to do it in a relationship. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And one of your guides, there's a grandmother around you saying, stop second guessing yourself. And it's almost like the ego is looking for approval, which I'm just going to tell you what they're saying. Do you know what I mean? And yes. You know everything I'm saying. Or they just stopped. How is that sitting?
Yes, I feel like I'm being pushed to go this route, like this path. There's something pushing me, and I feel it really strongly to find myself, because in this relationship, I'm not being able to find it. Because I've tried so many times. So now it's like, okay, just sometimes that's why I have a fear of change. Is the fear, maybe it's keeping me back and holding me back.
And so now I'll say this much from somebody who went through a marital separation how many ever years ago. It's a big decision. And it's a decision that your intuition will pull you if it's necessary, if it's that time. But it's not about making yourself wrong for it. You know, it's only society that says marriage is supposed to last until you're 90, right? It's like a contract ends when a contract ends, and you have to feel that. And for some reason, your guides keep telling me part of her is looking for permission from you, but it's not about the permission. She has the permission from herself.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel?
Yes. It sits very strongly. Yeah.
And one last thing I'll say that they want me to say is, as you know, if we don't listen to the intuition, at least in my own case, when I don't listen to intuition, my own intuition is when I get sick. That's when things wallop for me. For me, when I'm not listening to the inner voice, I get hit in the face, right? Mm-hmm. So listen to your inner voice is what I keep hearing, and find you. Take a breath, take a breath, take a breath. I hope this next thing helps you, Sanaz, and helps anybody else on the call. I think it's in chapter 4 of the course. They say, God, our creator, does not see bodies. Sometimes we think, oh, spirit will be mad at me for I'm leaving. They don't even see your body, for God's sakes. Our job is return to the light and love that we are. That's our job.
Yes.
That's it. And how it occurs doesn't matter. You got to find your light and love, and that's it.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
thank you. Hey, Inga, how are you?
Good. I hope all of you guys are well this weekend. Just trying to figure out how to put this. So one of the questions you asked us today about how or what we want to address in relationships, right, is I put down respect.
Okay.
And of course, you got to respect myself. But I feel it ties on to where I kind of missed out on what you were talking about. And I don't know if you can remember, if somebody else can remember, where you said working on powerlessness. And then I was just so liking that quote in the course about the ego and the horrible boss and being the amazing servant. You said something, well, first of all, my thing is about my mother wound. And I think I've done a lot with it. But of course, it kind of comes back and will come back for different reasons. But I also have found through the last number of years, it comes in through other people.
Okay.
Right. And some people can call that, a certain personality or whatnot. But you had said something about there is a part of me that has not been hurt by my mother.
Oh, yeah.
Or about people being represented by whatever I have to face, or what does that mean? A part of me has not been wounded.
So that it's quite a deep concept, and you're in the Healing with Course in Miracles class. So, and we just started shadow work. So we're going to get into that part in a couple more weeks. But how I try to describe it is, okay, let me say it this way. I'm going to use my example, because it's easier for me to use an example than it's just talk theoretically. As you know, I was raised by a father. We have very similar childhoods. Raised by a father who told me to go to medical school. Great. So there was this sensation in my body of feeling trapped. Got it? So that's I didn't know until I started working on myself years later. So because of the sensation of being trapped, feeling trapped, which I never dealt with, my trapped answer is to run. When I feel trapped, I run. Right. I ran from my parents when I got to med school, ran away, finished medical school, whatever, ran out west. Then married my first husband, who was great. He was Jewish, great guy. I converted religions, was with him for a number of years. Then fast forward and realized, I feel trapped. But I didn't put two together that was my father. Do you get it? Ran from him. Do you get it?
Right.
Ran from him.
Right.
And then now in this marriage, I bumbling up going, fuck, I feel trapped. And it was like, bingo, oh geez, right? And what I've had to do is go, because I know this to be true. Sometimes I feel trapped by my business. So I create it, right? I had to go to this place, Inga, where I can never be trapped. I am a child of God. I am divine. I am. There is freedom in the I am. And that part of me was never trapped by my father. Never trapped by my first husband. And the only reason I managed to stay in my current marriage and not run is because I recognized it. I was, so every day I'm with him, I have to go to this place of, I am not trapped. I am free because I am as God created me. Because I am a bolter. Like I am a bolter. That's just my personality. I'm like, I'm out of here. To get it? And I asked my guides, should I stay? And they're like, yes, fuck. And joking. You met my husband. He's a great guy. But it's like, I want to bolt because that's the 5-year-old in me, 7-year-old in me who's like, I'm out of here. So I had to find the part of me when she was 5 that wasn't trapped.
Right.
Now there, you just got it.
And when does that, like, let's say at work or wherever, entering and not recognizing that I'm entering relationships with this type of person or this type of personality, is there some part in my body, or I know what I do, like I know behaviorally what I do,
right.
But I don't recognize it. But what part of the body, and I'm wondering if it's more like the second chakra.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. So whatever you got is.
Sorry, I apologize. Can you remind me what you experienced with your coworkers relationship? You said with this
Right.
relationship, I feel what?
Right. And other people sometimes in my world. I don't like using the word, well, a lot of controlling people.
Good. Thank you.
Controlling or using the word narcissism.
Sure, I'll take that. So Inga, go into your body, go into your body, go into your body. Close your eyes. And you're right, it's your second chakra, fourth, second, third, fourth, especially your third. Okay. Go into your body, close your eyes, breathe. Take these words into your body and just say them in your mind. I am as God created me. I am free. I am as the divine created me. I am free. It's like right, your thoracic spine, mid-thoracic spine area. It's like right, it's like there's a rod there. It's super tight. And that's the part of your body I'm talking to right now. I am free. There we go. There. I am free. I am free. I am free. Take a deep breath. I am allowed to be me. I'm allowed to be me. I am allowed to be me. Take a few more breaths. How is this sitting for you right now?
I feel comforted in that. I don't know if it's the intuition happening. I'm intellectualizing this again, but something told me it was that. And I know after we got back from Palm Springs, like a lot of pain on the right hand side coming down into the arm. And I have no idea why, but
why? That's why, because those are the fibers that are trying to release. Do you get it? That's awesome. You're experiencing that because it wants to move. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks, Inga. All right, let's do a bit of a close. Let's take our breath and close our eyes. Take a long breath in and a slow breath out. Take a deep breath in and a quiet breath out. Just breathe. As I mentioned, if you're getting a pull to take this further with me, I've got a 2-day workshop at the end of the month in the city here. Or you can join me for the Wounds to Wisdom class, and your intuition will guide you. Trust it. Stay in your body, stay in your breath. Just breathe. Take a moment to scan the class. Imagine that we're a group hanging out on the lawn somewhere in a circle. Feeling the love, feel the interconnection, feeling the love one. Remember, everything that came here stays here. Take a few final breaths. Feeling the love and the connection, the support, and the infinite grace of the Spirit out of yourself. Beautiful. Nice work. And when you're ready, go to open your eyes. So great to see some fun, beautiful faces and some new beautiful faces. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy it. I'm gonna head to a comedy show and laugh at this whole thing because it's actually funny that we think it's so serious. Sending you guys so much love. Have a great night, guys. See you soon.
Good night.
Ciao.